just the same as Michael Jordan's? Why not?
Because he won the best player on the team.
Yeah, but he was the most impactful player on the team.
I get it.
What do you mean he wasn't?
Listen, I get it.
If you unplug Scottie Pippen off that team,
Sure.
Jordan's 0 for 6.
Sure.
Could be.
Who knows? But
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Jordan has not fired back with a new interview, but his real response is already in the tape, the resume, and the way his career answers every point Rich Paul tried to make. Michael Jordan never needed a podcast to protect his name. He never needed a media team to explain his rings. But the moment Rich Paul tried to make it sound like Jordan's whole legacy falls apart without Scottie, the old debate came back with fire. Because this was not just a LeBron versus Jordan argument anymore. This was Rich Paul looking into a camera and suggesting that if you remove Scottie, Jordan goes from 6 championships to 0. That is not a small comment. That is basically saying the most feared player in NBA history was only great because the perfect teammate showed up beside him.
Here's Rich Paul. Interesting take on Scottie Pippen.
I think Scottie's rings are just the same as Michael Jordan's. Why not?
Because he won the best player on the team.
Yeah, but he was the most impactful player on the team.
I get it.
What do you mean he wasn't?
Listen, I get it.
If you unplug Scottie Pippen off that team,
Sure.
Jordan's 0 for 6.
Sure.
And that is why this whole thing exploded. Rich Paul was not just giving Scottie credit. Everybody gives Scottie credit. Pippen was an all-time defender, a perfect second star, and one of the most important pieces of the Bulls dynasty. But there is a big difference between saying Scottie helped Jordan win and saying Jordan would have won nothing without him. That is where fans felt the disrespect. Because if we use that logic, then every legend's rings can be picked apart. Magic had Kareem, Bird had McHale and Parrish, Kobe had Shaq and Powell, and LeBron had Wade, Bosh, Kyrie, Love, and Anthony Davis. But somehow this rule only gets thrown at Jordan when people are trying to weaken his case.
Talking about MJ. Now, would he have went 6 for 6? Probably not, but 0 for 6 is all the way disrespectful. And Scottie Pippen had his chances to be the #1 option. Didn't Scottie Pippen reject to go in the game when he was quote-unquote that 1A and had a beef with Phil Jackson when Jordan stepped away from the game of basketball?
The funny part is, Michael Jordan already gave the perfect response years ago without even mentioning Rich Paul's name. When Jordan was asked about the GOAT debate, he did not sit there and crown himself. He actually said he does not like the debate because it disrespects players from different eras. That is the difference. Jordan never needed to drag down Wilt, Russell, Magic, Bird, or LeBron to make himself look better. He always treated the game like it was bigger than one argument. So when people today try to tear down his 6 rings, his answer is already sitting there. He respects history more than most people arguing about history.
I wish I could take a magic pill, put on shorts, and go out and play the game of basketball today. Because that's who I am. That's that type of competition, that type of competitiveness is what I live for, and I miss it. I miss that aspect of playing the game of basketball.
But let's talk about the part Rich Paul's argument skips. Michael Jordan was already destroying the NBA before Scottie Pippen became Scottie Pippen. Jordan entered the league in 1984 and immediately looked different. He was not slowly carried into greatness. He was already the show. Before the Bulls became a dynasty, Jordan was putting up numbers that looked fake. He was dropping huge scoring nights, attacking packed defenses, and carrying teams that were nowhere near championship ready. So when someone says he would be nothing without Scottie, they are ignoring the years where Jordan was already proving he was the best player on the floor almost every night. And then came the real test, the Detroit Pistons. People love to act like Jordan had an easy road because he ended up with 6 rings. But before those rings, he was getting punished every single postseason. The Pistons built an entire defensive plan around hitting him, trapping him, and making every drive painful. They did not just guard Jordan, they tried to break him mentally and physically. And Jordan did not run from it. He did not ask to join a stronger team. He did not look for an easier road. He got stronger, trusted the process, and kept coming back until the Bulls finally broke through.
Michael, get it Bulls with a fresh shot clock. MJ. Oh, he did it! Michael shakes the finger. Jordan kept it in bounds. Here it is again.
That is why the "he had help" argument feels too simple. Of course he had help. No one wins alone. But Jordan's help was built with him. Scottie was drafted young and developed in Chicago. Horace Grant grew in that system. Phil Jackson became the right coach at the right time. The Bulls did not just instantly create an easy super team overnight. They lost, learned, adjusted, and then became a monster. That is a very different story from jumping from one ready-made situation to another. Jordan stayed in one place and turned that place into the most famous basketball empire on earth.
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I led you to believe it was easy when it wasn't. Maybe I made you think my highlights started at the free throw line and not in the gym. Maybe I made you think that every shot I took was a game winner.
Here is where Rich Paul's point starts to turn back on itself. If Jordan gets reduced because he had Scottie, then LeBron's resume also has to be judged the same way. LeBron's first championships came after he joined Dwyane Wade, a player who already had a ring and MVP before LeBron ever won one. Then, in Cleveland, Kyrie Irving hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history in Game 7 against Golden State. Then, in Los Angeles, Anthony Davis played like a superstar during the 2020 run. So, if we're going to punish Jordan for having elite teammates, then the same standard has to apply to everyone else too.
Understand D-Wayne saying Jordan is the greatest player he's watched, but LeBron is the greatest player he's seen. Start with you, Mr. B. You said it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, because he's watching somebody on TV. He's with LeBron James every day, like in practice, winning championships, like he's going through the battle with this guy. So I definitely understand what he's saying. I mean, that's how I feel when they talk about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
And that is what makes Dwyane Wade's words so powerful. Wade is not some random Jordan fan. He played with LeBron. He won championships with LeBron. He helped LeBron get over the mountain in Miami. But even Wade has made it clear that Jordan will always be his personal GOAT because he came from that era. That matters because Wade knows both sides. He respects LeBron deeply, but he also understands what Jordan meant to the game. So when Rich Paul tries to shift the conversation, Wade's respect for Jordan reminds everybody that even people close to LeBron still see MJ differently. The bigger issue is not even Scottie Pippen. The bigger issue is how the GOAT debate keeps getting twisted. When people support LeBron, they often bring up longevity, all-time scoring, versatility, and the pressure of playing in the social media era. Those are fair points. LeBron has an unbelievable case. But when the argument turns into Jordan only won because of Scottie, then it stops being a fair debate and becomes a takedown. Jordan was not just a scorer with good teammates. He was a scoring champion, a defensive monster, a clutch closer, and the face of a global basketball revolution. You cannot erase that by naming one teammate.
Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead.
That final shot in Utah is why Jordan's legacy still feels different. Everybody in the building knew who was getting the ball. Everybody watching at home knew the season was going to be decided by Michael Jordan, and he still delivered. That is the part numbers cannot fully explain. Jordan did not just win, he made winning feel inevitable. He created moments that became permanent memory in basketball. So when Rich Paul tries to reopen the case and make it sound like Jordan's rings need an asterisk, fans go right back to the tape. The answer is not hidden. It's right there in the biggest moments. So, no, Michael Jordan did not need to sit across from Rich Paul and argue sentence by sentence. His response is already there. It's in the years before Scottie became a star. It's in the battles with Detroit. It's in the first three-peat, the retirement, the comeback, and the second three-peat. It's in the fact that when the finals arrived, Jordan never let a series reach a Game 7. He finished the job every time. That is why the debate never dies. Because every time someone tries to make Jordan smaller, the footage makes him look even bigger. And that's the problem Rich Paul ran into. Defending LeBron is one thing. LeBron deserves defense. His career is historic. His longevity is unreal. His numbers may never be touched. But defending LeBron by making Jordan sound dependent doesn't work, because once you start removing teammates from one legend, you have to remove teammates from all of them. And when you do that, the argument becomes pointless. Basketball has always been a team sport. The question is not whether Jordan had help. The question is what Jordan did with that help when the pressure was highest. That is where Michael Jordan's case still stands tall. 6 finals, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 2 three-peats, a scoring machine who also guarded like his pride depended on it, a superstar who turned one franchise into a dynasty and one sneaker line into a global symbol. Rich Paul can say what he wants, the debate can keep spinning, but Jordan's real response has always been simple. Check the scoreboard, check the rings, check the moments, and check the fear he put into the league. Because some legacies don't need to be defended loudly, they defend themselves every time the tape plays.